이것이 하늘의 검!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are recovered from our previous series because it's time for series number 2. And this promises to be almost just as exciting, certainly a very even matchup between Team MVP and the Afreeca Freaks.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a matchup that, coming in tonight, I was most excited for because I feel like there's a lot of storyline inside of these teams. Primarily because MVP, again, I said this in the previous series, leading up to this one, is that MVP looked like a team that they just kept getting stronger as the season went on, except for a few hiccups. And Afreeca Freaks, they also were looking like they were one of the much better teams in LCK at certain points. And now they've had a few mix-ups, and we're going to see what that actually means for the team.
That is very true. We'll be talking about those teams as you can see on your screen. This is MVP, their head coach and coach there you can see on the side. But ADD, or Ed, Beyond, Ian, Maha, and Max, that's the starting lineup from last season. So they are going to be at full force, and really a good time for everyone watching to really gauge where they stand.
Interestingly enough, I don't believe that they had 2 coaches, though, last season. So that is new.
Very new. I don't remember seeing any announcements either about additional coaching staff, but we'll get a chance to meet them as they come on stage. So first question will go over to the coach for the Afreeca Freaks, that is Jong Jae-sung. Did have a couple of interviews last season, so he is the face that we are used to seeing for the Afreeca Freaks. So a lot of the Freaks fans have been waiting for this moment. How did you guys prepare for the KeSPA Cup? And Coach Jung saying, we had some roster changes for this KeSPA Cup, but everyone worked very hard, put their effort forward, so lots of hard work leading up for this tournament. Now, Coach Jung is very well known as a very emotional, motivational kind of coach, so asking him what his style is like here. And, saying that he focused on keeping the players relaxed and doing and helping them do the best of their abilities. This is Coach Lee Jung-won from MVP. And like LS said, this is the new addition to the coaching staff of MVP. So this is your first KeSPA Cup as coach. How do you personally feel about this tournament? So the coach said, I just walked out of the booth and I'm more scared out here than I was when I was in there. So I think it's much better when I'm in the booth. So any fighting words in preparation for this KeSPA Cup? Coach Lee says the players were really disappointed finishing last season in 6th place, so we're going to try our absolute best this KeSPA Cup to play the best of our abilities and make sure that there are no regrets. So that is the coaching staff of both teams. That means that it's time for the favorite part of the broadcast. And that's where we head over to our caster desks combined. By our caster desks combined, we cast some League of Legends. So we're swapping it up just a little bit, getting in here to our second series of the night. And we have the rotating Korean casters, so we're going to see Caster Lee come in here. Just a few minor announcements down there at the bottom. Join the conversation online. Hashtag KeSPA Cup.
네, 어제 방송을 보니까 좀 이런 얘기들이 있더라고요. 선수한테서 탈퇴했다 이런 얘기들이 좀 있었는데 다음 차. 네.
And very soon we'll be able to see us back on camera. We're still alive, guys. We didn't die after that last series, even though many, many players did. It was a bloodbath, but I loved it. That's the way League of Legends goes. But it was a very exciting game, so definitely go out there, rewatch the VODs, tell your friends, tweet out some highlights. It's going to be very exciting to go back and see exactly what happened that game. Lots of highlight moments, but now we get to move on. So let's talk about our new series, MVP versus the Afreeca Freaks. What are you most looking forward to?
Oh, I just want to see how MVP functions as a team, and I want to see how Afreeca sort of changes up their play style also as a team, because they had a lot of wonky ways to basically win their games last season, and this time around also I don't feel like they're compromised in the jungle aspect of always having physical damage jungler,
right?
In terms of Lyra, so that's not there anymore. And let's see if Mickey's champion pool changed up. I was looking at all their solo queue IDs. Nothing really stood out as abnormal or anything, so we might just have a very standard meta match today.
Well, LS, we'll see what kind of match we do have today, as it looks like we should be hopping into champion picks and bans here momentarily. See if we can get those underway. Looks like we are going to be testing out a few things, so lots of time to talk about things that matter. Now, the things that matter to you are saying, hey, what are these changes, bringing the substitute roster of the Afreeca Freaks into play? How's that going to change their mindset? And really, if you guys watched the Freaks in depth last season, then you know that they were a very aggressive team. We'll see if that has changed. We hop into picks and bans for game number 1 of our second series of the night. Afreeca Freaks on the blue side, taking on MVP in the red.
Yeah, and there's that Syndra ban to kick off the pick ban. Nothing surprising there. It's definitely a champion you don't want your opponent to have, but why are they banning it when they're blue? If you can't play Syndra, there's a problem.
Now this is Mickey, and Mickey definitely has his own style of champion pool. Very well known for Zed and TF. Neither one of them banned against him.
Yep.
So a Twisted Fate left up against the Freaks. That is a very rare experience to have. We're finishing up the bans very, very quickly, so we didn't finish highlighting them. Syndra and Nidalee, guaranteed bans there come out from the Freaks. They also banned Jace away from either Ed or Ian. On the other side, it's an Olaf, Ryze, and Jin ban there for MVP, and the first pick looks to be an Ashe for Sangyun.
Yeah, and Ashe actually was a champion that worked out well for him in LCK a little bit. But I don't know if an AD carry first pick is necessarily something that generally you would be fighting over, especially not with Caitlyn still open and then you electing to pick Ashe. Now, Ashe is a soft counter in some ways, because it's not like Caitlyn can abuse that range over her, but it's still a little suspicious to see for a first pick. Very unusual.
Now you saw it, or might have seen it, hovered there for a second. At least we have. But the picks for the Freaks coming in here is actually going to be a little interesting. It looks like it could be Lee Sin and Victor hovered over. We've already seen some great Lee Sin play a little bit earlier on there. But will we see that locked in? I mean, Mickey, the Twisted Fate's available. It's the big pick that is kind of iconic. On the other side, though, also Ian, iconic Varus to look for, as well as now this pick's swapped over to MVP. It's of course a lock in there on the Victor and Lee Sin for the Freaks.
Yeah. And hover right now on Yasuo and Caitlyn. And Caitlyn is a AD carry I would expect to actually see, with Jhin being banned. Because right now, Jhin and Caitlyn are the king and queen of the AD carry role.
All right, holding their throne. Now, the Yasuo, scientific though it may be, most likely not going to get locked in, and of course it's switched over there, thinking about now the Poppy for MVP. And well, we have seen a Poppy performance earlier on today. It was into that Jace matchup that now is banned, so we'll not have that to worry about.
Yep. And so, really, I mean, there's a few viable picks remaining in top lane. Trundle is one of them. I wouldn't be surprised if they do lock that in. Alternatively, I mean, Echo isn't super bad if you want Echo for Echo, but Trundle is going to have a little bit better of a time against Poppy.
Trundle also taking that away from Ed is a really big benefit, because Ed's Trundle build is going that triple rejuvenation bead build like he used to into heavy harass matchups. Just a very comfortable champion for Ed. So Sangyun rather is picking that for Linderang eventually. That's going to be really exciting to watch as well, because Linderang, we've all seen what he can do with that Trundle pick.
Yep. And the Bard Hover right now, it might actually be locked in, and if that's the case, then that means it's going to be a mid lane Karma. So, well, Karma, as we saw in Series 1 between Longzhu and Jin Air, Karma can do a lot of damage. This is basically going to be support Caitlyn. Not literally support Caitlyn, but I mean support the Caitlyn, in the sense that Caitlyn is going to be the one dishing out tons of damage, and it's going to be all about keeping her alive.
But can they do it? Certainly we've seen what Victor can do after that last game. Tons and tons of damage, but that Bard is locked in. These are the final picks for both of our teams. We've got aggressive jungle matchups, tanky top laners, and an AD carry matchup that should be interesting to watch, with Ashe so highly prioritized for the Freaks, but Caitlyn, as one of, if not the strongest AD carry right now for Maha, should be a very powerful pick, especially when supported by the rest of that MVP roster.
Yep. And, I mean, just in terms of team compositions, it's just like what I was expecting to see, just going off their solo queues. Very, very, very standard. This actually looks like this is a draft that could have happened at Worlds.
Right, and it could have happened between any two teams. You just draft, like you said, those standard champions. Well, here are the Afreeca Freaks on your screens. There they went. Here are MVP now. And MVP, unchanged roster, extremely strong play, lots and lots of potential. We'll see if they can live up to it. So get out there, tell your friends, MVP versus Afreeca Freaks. Game number 1 in our final series of the night here at the KeSPA Cup is about to begin. Hashtag KeSPA Cup, or MVP win, or AF win, to let people know who you are supporting. So get out there, tell your friends, because we are about to get into game number 1. MVP versus the Afreeca Freaks. Huge cheers for both of our very popular teams as we get into game number 1 of our second series of the night. The Afreeca Freaks on the blue side taking on MVP in the red. Happy to be back to casting these guys. Two of the most polarizing teams that we got a chance to watch last season. MVP upstarts, brand new players who dominated with some incredible plays. Afreeca Freaks very aggressive as sort of the team that the organization that took over for Rebels Anarchy, if you guys remember that team, with some very very popular players on their roster.
Yes, indeed, and just like always, another fan start for both teams, although Zyra trying to get a little bit of intel.
Oh, nice try, Ian. Unable to land the little harassment early on. And like you said, both teams just kind of fanning out. Now, one of the big players that at least we were talking about earlier, being excited to watch, is this guy named Beyond. He finished 5th highest in MVP points last season on MVP, which was amazing because this guy has not had any professional competitive experience outside of being on MVP.
Yeah. Beyond is, he's regarded as one of the best junglers in the world by a lot of pro gamers in Korea as being one of the best players. And honestly, I was really expecting him to end up on SK Telecom following Worlds, just because he was the best jungler probably available that maybe they could have picked up inside of the Korean region. And so, you know, look forward to him probably looking to make a lot of action happen and things happen because he's no slouch in the jungle role.
Especially on Elise, one of the strongest meta jungle picks at the moment. Excited to see exactly what he is able to accomplish there. Maha getting a little bit of extra CS there on those plants. Zyra grows them down on the bottom half of the map. Zyra about to have a lot of company in the next patch. Even more plants out there, but of course nice to see very strong, very meta bottom lane here. Now trying to get the latch there on that Cosmic Binding through the minion wave, but Max avoiding the plant at least for now, but now we'll have to walk back through it. Takes a lot of harassment there from Snowflower.
Yep, and Ian right now just coming over and actually stealing away. Now that may not seem that big, but it really, really is, because it does affect Sunghwan. Not only taking away his gold, but also taking away experience from him. And also it will guarantee that Ian does get level ups or the XP lead in mid lane.
Yeah, and there you go. Sunghwan comes over to his Raptor camp only to find he has been bamboozled. And now even Beyond might look for a little bit of a steal. Okay, not going to go for it, but instead, oh my god, that juke from Mickey. So good, but it does force out his ghost.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty nice juke right there by him. Unfortunate Beyond was not able to land that cocoon because that could have gotten very dangerous.
Always like to see those little tiny jukes that make such a big difference. Just don't know how close it can come. But now Mickey is going to go over him because he is dealing with a monolith jungler, like you said. And you actually made a really good point about this yesterday about where Lee Sin start and being able to give over those blue buffs to Victors so that they can stay in lane long enough to get to their Hex score.
Yep. And so now Victor going to be able to have that Hex score, going to sustain through the lane, which it could have been actually even more problematic given that Ian has teleport, so the ability to recall, come back with items, and then continue to bully Victor definitely could have been problematic and skewed the matchup in mid lane, because Karma is one of the mid lane champions that she gets her core items sooner than most other mids because of how much cheaper it is, whereas Victor does not have the same luxury, and especially compromising his first or second recall is very, very big in affecting mid-game plays.
Linderang up in the top lane having some struggles when it comes to trades, but as is customary with Trundles, that passive, the King's Tribute, going to give him quite a bit of health back over the course of these minions dying in lane. Especially every time a cannon minion dies, you can actually just see the bar move, so he should be fine for now.
Right now, it looks like Beyond is trying to make a lot of things happen.
Oh, here we go. Magical Journey all the way through the wall there. Immediate counterplay. Great roots coming out from Snowflower.
And that was completely shut down, but Ian actually
try
moving
number 2.
Down.
Here we go. If at first you don't succeed, try again. A flash burst out from Snowline. The binding still lands even through the flash, and that's first blood for Beyond.
And that is actually really big right now, because now bottom lane, that causes a lot of problems. I really like what ADD is doing. You can see he actually shoved the lane into Trundle, and then he runs down to mid to pick up the wave. And so there was no efficiency loss there, and now Karma back in mid to pick it up, and then Ed is going to go back to top lane with the teleport. So you can see this by Max. Unfortunate, Songyun flashed a little bit too late, definitely greedy, and then Beyond was able to finalize the kill onto him.
Beautiful binding there by Max, and like you said, just a little bit too late on the flash. Songyun, that takes us back to now, and Ed picking up that, not a full wave, but well-needed experience.
Yep.
It should help him out. He's tied in CS there, picks up experience and doesn't let it go to waste, and that's Beyond showing exactly how powerful he can be.
And right now, MVP, I mean, Caitlyn not super far ahead right now of Songyun. Songyun does have that Warhammer, but Caitlyn does have the boots, so any sort of a slip-up that Snowflower or Songyun make, it's very easy for Max and Maha to punish. And Ed moving down again, getting a pretty deep pick for it.
He definitely does put that down, but now another Magical Journey coming through. The flash, the cocoon lands from Beyond, and he's got the damage to follow up for his second kill of the game.
And he definitely actually needed to pick up that kill. It's pretty fortunate for MVP that he took it instead of Maha, and that's primarily because he invested into these mobility boots, which means that if he doesn't get any sort of kills or if he doesn't start creating snowballs everywhere, it can get pretty bad. So it's actually very fortunate that he ended up securing it. So you're going to see this again, Magical Journey, Snowflower not having flash, pretty bad position to be in. Beyond with the flash cocoon, executed so well. And you can see he thought the Spiderling would have probably finished her off, but it did not.
And he did get that kill, like you said, replenishing the gold that he did invest in those mobility boots. And when Beyond is not only finding kills, but running all the way around the map, certainly a scary world to live in here for the Afreeca Freaks, who, like we said earlier, are trying out, well, they periodically last season would try out Lindrang and Songjuan. So they at least have the benefit of that experience, but this is still a big change from Ixu and Lyra. Lyra, one of the junglers that was regarded most highly in LCK last season, even with a different... Oh my god! Songjuan! Oh, that's down really, the lobby. That's dirty.
Yeah, and you know what? That's really, really good for Mickey. Because that means that he's going to have a lot more room to basically actually duel and skirmish Ian now in the mid lane. Because Ian's not going to have the luxury of just being able to spam spells out, and that's going to be pretty nice for him.
Certainly will. Arrow, swing and a miss. Swing, bada. Ian will stay alive and avoid getting hit out there. Mickey might have had the damage to pick up that kill if that stun had lasted long enough, but Songyun trying to affect mid lane unsuccessfully. But now Mickey is actually going to get that blue buff. That's the discrepancy you were talking about.
Yep, and so now Mickey is going to be able to come back to mid lane. He already has that Hex Core, already has Ionian boots. So his ability to just constantly shove Ian in now and then roam to side lanes using his Ghost because of the cooldown reduction on his summoners is a pretty scary thing.
Top lane, though, we've got continuing trades there between Lindrang and Ed. Ed Boy being pushed back to his turret, even under that subjugate. Not having a good time by any means. And it's kind of some question marks here as Mickey, or rather Ian, trying to find out whether or not top lane is a good lane to roam. Lots of damage being put down. He's continuing with the auto attacks. Does he have the flash for the follow-up kill? Oh. The last auto attack is not enough. That one AD rune you forgot to put in your page is paying off right now as Lindrang magically survives. Back down to the bottom lane for some magic as Pard and Caitlyn on that turret. But Beyond in a little bit of a rough spot. He's going to come down and immediately saved by Max. Now, I don't know if he's going to last much longer than he does die, but that was still a pretty cute save.
Yeah, that was a cute little tie-up just to, you know, stall some time. But that's what I'm talking about the Ghost on Victor, that he can just use so freely. And it's not like he was losing anything because he's able to push the lanes so effectively with that Hex Core upgrade, and he is going for the double tier 2 with Victor. So tier 2 boots, tier 2 Hex Core, and this is a very mobile Victor. So anyways, in this replay right here, Beyond caught out, Red fought perfectly, and Mickey was right there to pick up the kill. But the problem now is that with the double tier 2 Victor, that's a type of Victor that generally says, I feel like I'm ahead and my team feels like, you know, we can do stuff to you, because this is one of the most mobile build variations on Victor.
Absolutely, especially with Ghost. It's about halfway off cooldown. Songjuan and Snowflower, they're waiting in the wings. They will reveal themselves now. 3 men strong, 3v1, and can they find the pick? The Ash Arrow lands onto Ian. He is out of there. Going down, pinched against the wall. Freaks with a nice play for the pick.
Yep. Now he's going to probably shove in mid lane. And I wouldn't... Oh, okay, I guess they're not going to do that. But it wouldn't have been too surprising to actually just have Sungwon push mid lane turret with Mickey. That way you could probably actually get one of the 2 teleports out of MVP. And that's pretty big when you're facing a double teleport composition. Especially around the timing where Dragon or First Blood Towers are becoming a real threat.
Top lane, there's going to be an aggression trying to find that kill. But bottom lane, there's action as well. Top lane, there's the kill I was talking about off the minimap. Ed able to come up with a win. Oh my god, so much lockdown now. This time onto Mickey. Right into the... Oh, okay, Beyond. Everybody gets one.
Everyone gets one.
Okay, well that's your one, Beyond. You had the chance. Lots invested into that, especially by Max over the wall. I still want to find the replay on that top lane 1v1. You can see it there in the corner of your screen, just continual fighting, and eventually this does get committed to Ed, able to stop Lindrang from getting away, and just too much damage from the right clicks. The knock-up, the follow-up, stunning with the wall off the flash, and that's going to be Ed with a 1v1.
That was actually a very cute scenario where I don't think Lindrang realized that he was actually in lethal range.
They didn't have Subjugate up either, so that's the big difference maker.
Yeah. That was very good by Ed. And that's actually something that MVP needed right now because they were beginning to fall apart in some ways. Now, fortunately for them, though, Maha is considerably ahead in the CS department compared to Songyun. But the real problem is in mid lane, where Mickey's Victor is getting really big. He's already actually completed that Hex Core. So now, probably just going to move immediately into Rylai's following that, so that he can add a little bit of utility and slow to him.
He's up 2 kills and 30 CS on Ian as well, so that is a big, big difference. Now, Max, once again, missing that stun. Duped out there by Songyun. Makes his way back to lane, but now, once again, Lindrang still in a little bit of a rough spot when it comes to those trades. What do you see as the next move for these teams, LS?
I mean, at this point in the game, Afreeca, well, I guess they're trying to steal the blue buff, but making something happen is probably going to be good, and they definitely should look to do that around mid lane. You have the Ash Arrow. You can easily try to look to make roams with Snowflower and Songyun against mid and try to apply pressure to the turret. That way you can draw Beyond out of the jungle and get a more clearer idea of his roots.
Binding does land, double stun on Songyun and Snowflower. It will make it out of there. Sangwon comes up with a blue buff steal.
Yeah, Ian has not had a blue buff all game. He's definitely not feeling blue.
No, he is not. I was about to sing the rest of the song, but nobody wants that to happen. So not going to have that buff for him, and continuing that jungle pressure by Sangwon. Now, the lockup does happen there onto Snowflower. Teleport's being channeled as well. He is out of there. Now, can they turn this one around? Ed does continue. He's actually going to knock Songyun forward, but Lindrang, there's the one dropping low. Damage continuing to come back up, but Mickey on the roam with huge damage. Turns that into a womp. I don't know where I was going. I was going to say Wombo combo. I was like, no, it's not actually that. It's a 3-for-1 exchange in the end. Snowflower goes down, but his death was not in vain. Ed, Maha, and Max are the ones that wind up going down for MVP, and now Beyond tasked with defending that turret. A great roam from Mickey.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, Ian just trying to push in mid lane. That's not really going to do too much, and that is not what they wanted to have happen just now. And again, I mean, all that's going to happen here is Afreeca is going to keep scaling, and sounds like a replay is happening, but right now we cannot see it.
Well, we're back to live anyways, so we're going to forget about missing the replay, and then also about whatever it was that I was saying earlier, because at this point in the game, we're starting to see what makes me most excited. Same thing from last series. It is two teams that are so evenly matched. Both junglers with insane performances. Mid lane going off with the freaks. Mickey is just coming up in big, big ways, but Beyond continuing to help his team get further and further ahead, securing the first dragon of the game, the Notion Drake for MVP.
Yep, and now they're probably just going to look to reset and try to play everything slow right now. So initiative handed back over to Afreeca, and they find Sangwon trying to take their rates.
Where are you going, Sangwon? Gonna get locked up, taking a little bit of damage, but mission accomplished. Race steal successful. Down on the bottom half of the map, continual award battles, but here comes Mickey once again. Mickey has just been all over this game. He I don't know, just looks so so good on the roams. This ghost picture, like you were talking about, the double tier 2, the tier 2 boots and hex core early, so mobile. Well, he's continued to be mobile all over the map. Roam to bottom lane for a huge turnaround there, and Ian just can't keep up, being pressured, losing all of his blue buffs. And you can definitely tell where the different strengths on each of these teams lie. Yeah,
definitely a huge byproduct of what has happened in mid lane has actually been partly due to Sungwon's blue steals against Ian. And that's actually really compromising, especially because Mickey was able to not have any problems with his first recall at all either. And so the advantages that were created early, I mean, if we're looking at it right now, they didn't really work out as well.
Oh, nice dodge there by Mickey. He's continuing to go in on to Ian, who will speed himself away. Sangwon now the one that needs to get out of that dragon pit. Waiting until that cocoon is thrown out to get over the wall. And so lots of posturing here. It's 17.5 minutes. We've seen the first dragon taken down. Lindrang and Ed actually playing a fairly interactive top lane instead of just that giant bruiser battle that never ends. This one's actually been a little bit more exciting. Now the leash in onto Mickey will not lock him down, but the damage is still there, poking him out of lane.
Yep, and Mickey probably just going to recall right now, sitting on some gold. see what he ends up picking up. He is just going to go into the Giant's Belt and needlessly large rod. So he's very, very close to Rylai's right now, and that's a very scary thing because once Victor has Rylai's, the Chaos Storm becomes so much more threatening.
Certainly does. Now that we're working up towards that, we can start to look at what is coming in for the rest of the team. Ash about to hit her next item spike, and of course the Youmuu's Ghostblade already there for Maha. We've seen a lot of those being built so far, and this time it is it's going to be a slightly earlier spike there for the Caitlyn. Now, how do you think that's going to really impact things? 80 carries, this hasn't been a good game for them. 0-1 scores for them each, but with Dragon down, is this really going to be an interactive team-based kind of game?
Well, with Dragon being down, I mean, the next one is Inferno Drake, which both teams definitely do want Afreeca a little bit more than MVP. MVP would probably prefer to have like a Mouth Drake or something because of that Caitlyn, and it would just help them with Barons and, again, penetrating Victor defenses. So, right now, I mean, the game is pretty much stationary, and Karma definitely wants to get to her death cap and stuff, and there's still a lot of scaling that has yet to occur for MVP's team composition before Caitlyn becomes this monster and before they're really durable enough to take on these extended trades against Victor.
Blue buff being saved, and there it is. Ian does finally get a blue buff, LS. It's not going to be denied for the entire game. Oh my goodness. So things starting to maybe turn around a little bit. There's a recurve bro purchased for Maha. He comes back to base, a lot of attack speed there. Of course, same thing now for Sangyun. He's going to be powering up there. Item buys across the boards really for both teams, taking this brief respite of the mid lane, or of the mid game, rather, to power up a little bit.
And Dragon coming up in just under 2 minutes now. Rylai's completed for Victor, and that is out and on the field. And a lot of this is, while it is looking pretty good for Afreeca, a lot of their gold lead is inside of that one champion. So if Victor does go down somehow during a team fight at the very start of it, it is super, super disastrous, where if any one target on MVP goes down, it doesn't look nearly as bad.
Right, I mean, if that one target is maybe Caitlyn, then yeah, they're going to lose a lot of damage since that is such a big source of it from their team. But otherwise, yeah, no real, individual superstar with all the gold being piled onto it. Beyond a lot of strength early, but is not going to be going for a super carry, full AP elite.
Yep. And here we go, Seonghwan and Mickey moving down, and
there's the arrow landing on to Max. There's Snowflower taking a little bit of damage in return, but with the kick being good, it's Seonghwan to find the first kill of his Chaos Storm going forward, but it's not actually going to be enough. Mickey pulls the Chaos Storm back to try to aid the rest of the fight because it's actually going a little bit crazy. Snowflower is down. Seonghwan just barely managed to safeguard backwards. He can be able to get out alive, and there with the big buckler shield continuing to engage there. He does get the ground pound, and it's going to be finished by the Peacemaker. Maha finding a kill there, but Ed's not stopping yet. Forcing the flash out of Linderang. Seonghwan making out of there alive. The flash for the Q damage. Is it enough? No. Ed continuing to run through the turret. Has he gone too far? Looks like he and Science both have not.
Yeah, and Ed actually going to take this. No, he wants to deny the recalls.
Okay.
With his passive, he wants to look to deny the recalls. Even if he takes 3 tower shots, what does that really do to Poppy, who has 1100 HP right now? Not too much, because it's not like they can turn on her. So by denying the recalls, you open up the ability to get bottom tier 1 turret, and that's going to be the first blood turret of the game handed over to Maha, who's the primary carry, and you're going to get Inferno Drake.
Wow. So you said maybe Afreeca wants that a little bit more, but still very, very valuable for MVP. Karma scaling, huge ratios on that, so definitely good to have that coming their way. It's like a replay.
Yeah.
Look at this fight.
So Sangyun starts off the fight basically perfectly. Max gets the exhaust down onto Snowflower, but doesn't really matter as he goes down. And as you can see there, Mickey did not get the animation cancel off on Victor, and so because of that, Maha was actually able to walk away and live. And so because of that, he's able to come back into the fight later on, and you can just see how obnoxious Poppy is. And at this point, Mickey's completely out of mana, and that was the real problem for this team fight going as long as it did, because when you itemize Hex Core straight into Rylai's, you're in some ways a little bit of a glass cannon if you don't have blue buff, because you can't take these extremely long extended fights.
Very, very true. If I'm not mistaken, in that last fight, Ed actually knocked Mickey into a Caitlyn trap to assist in allowing Maha to lay that damage out there. Lots of traps being laid out there by Maha around the Baron pit as well, as Baron has spawned, taken over the Rift Herald, and laid in that pit. Now, oh, this time it's Beyond in a little bit of a rough spot. Going to have some support from Ian, so he will make it out of there pretty safe and sound, but lots of aggression around the map. Inferno Drake being taken by MVP means that for the most part, there's no dragon objective to be fought around. Now that turrets have started to fall, that first turret going down, we're going to see Ed come around there towards the mid lane. Ghost used by Mickey to escape. This is going to mean a lot of damage on this mid turret for MVP, who might just be able to take it if Mickey doesn't clear. Which he will, because he's Victor.
Because he's Victor indeed, but definitely MVP now, the ones in the driver's seat. They have the Water Dragon and the Inferno Dragon, and Ed just wanted to spin his lollipop. All right, that's all he wanted to do.
That's what I do with my lollipop, man. Super effective strategy if you want to try that at home. Hey, if it works for Ed, it could work for anyone. It's a viable strategy. Don't make fun of Ed.
All right.
Little Ed boy. He can do whatever he wants with that. He's has a great item build currently, looking for what I feel like as soon as people figured out that Iceborne Gauntlet Sunfire Cape was a thing, you just started building on absolutely every top laner. Now, it's not quite as cookie cutter now, but it's a nice throwback from Ed's build.
Yep. So he will have the Iceborne Gauntlet completed in just a short bit, and once that happens, I think that temporarily there will be a shift in the Poppy Trundle, in the sense that I don't think that he can sustain through the trades as effectively as he would like. It's not going to be super bad, but the problem is going to be that Poppy's sticking power, she's here to stay, like some people's ex-girlfriends. So,
oh my.
Yeah.
Well, Ed is not going to be redeeming that analogy anytime soon. Or maybe, I guess he will, as he does complete that Iceborne Gauntlet. Come back out on a Summoner's Rift. He's heading back down to the bottom lane to match up against Linderog, but oh gosh, this is starting to get a little bit scary now that Beyond's been powering up. Ed has an incredibly good item build for at least right now. Ace in the hole. Snowflower did not block that from Sangyun. So he will actually take a big chunk of damage here now that Caitlyn build's starting to kick into high gear. There's the flash cocoon immediately onto Sangyun. That reaction, insane. Maha will find that kill onto Sangyun. Now Beyond still has to get out of here. A flash over that Lee Sin Q, and Max gets out alive. How did he do that? That was so sick. And not going to land the Tempered Fate there to continue the fight. It disengages with a survival from the support on MVP and a kill on a Sangyun from great reactions on Beyond.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to keep 4 members up here in top lane. Oh, that's a little bit of damage from Snowflower, but not too much. Keeping 4 members up in the top lane and sending Ian mid lane. He still has that teleport on him, so he's still there in spirit as he looks to raise the tier 1 mid turret, but the towers are starting to fall for Afreeca, and as far ahead as Mickey got, it doesn't look like it was far ahead enough as the team is starting to fall apart.
Yeah, a little bit uncharacteristic there. As soon as Beyond just came out the bushes and one-shot Sangyun, we're about to see that right now. Beyond just knows when to fold them and knows when to, well, not walk away. He was the one getting in there for the kill.
Yep, and I mean, that was just a very nice, quick assassination, and Mickey, again, right there, couldn't really find a kill onto Max, and then Ed was able to knock him away. And, I mean, everything just basically went wrong right there for Afreeca, and I don't think they were really expecting how much damage Beyond was capable of dishing out. But if you look at his items and you look at his level, he's pretty strong right now, even though he is going tank Elise.
Yeah, I was going to say, I look at his tank items, LS, and I don't see a lot of damage there, but he's so far ahead. Level 14 currently. Going to be dealing a lot. 4 levels ahead of Snowflower at this point. Now it's MVP's time to Baron, or is it? They're certainly taking that down pretty quickly. Here comes Mickey, the flash, the damage, in onto the back line. Maha taking a lot of it. Anti-turn around for the damage that MVP need, pulled in by that gravity field, all in the same spot. Here comes Songhwan up from the back, and very low. He's gonna get chopped up, gets the the Karma shield, and he's still alive. Magical Journey allowing almost all, or rather all of MVP to disengage.
Karma's heal and then Poppy's shields. I would hate to be a Afreeca right now because I don't know in what world Poppy is supposed to live from that, but she did. I mean, it was a very nice, attempt at getting MVP and catching them out of position and maybe securing a Baron themselves. But unfortunately, they were just able to shove them off a Baron, and that was actually a really, really close call. But now Inferno Drake on the field, and MVP is here, and now Afreeca's actually the ones needing recalls.
Goon on a Songhwan. Like you said, Drake is there, and it looks like MVP will be the ones to start it. Starting the damage there, Songhwan behind the Dragon Pit. He used the Sonic Wave, so he won't be able to have it off cooldown in time to get back into the pit for the steal, and that is going to be Inferno number 2 for MVP.
So double Inferno Drake, pretty strong right now. But you know, it's not like it's as strong as it could be because it seems that Maha is actually itemizing a lot more utility. There's none of those super big AD items that are present on her right now.
Right, no Infinity Edge.
Infinity Edge. Or like Bloodthirster or anything like that. So not quite the amplification, but still pretty nice nonetheless.
Yeah, Songhwan almost taken down there, dropped very low to 300-400 HP, but red buff pickup there by Maha as MVP looked to really start to snowball this game out of control. Pressure onto that bottom tier 2. Snowflower joining Linderang there, but with a huge minion wave and a lot of MVP members. That arrow being dodged away from nice net there by Maha, who returns for the last hit to take down the 4th turret of the game for MVP.
Oh, and you look at that damage from Mickey, and Ed says, not today.
Nice damage coming in. Oh, the Bard will log everybody down, tempering their face, maybe a whole lot more. MVP looked for the disengage after taking a lot of damage, but they're putting it right back. Mickey onto Ian. Okay, you're not making it out of that one, Ian. He gets taken down as the sole casualty of war as MVP disengaged. Yeah,
and that was actually a really close call for Afreeca. Some of their members got really low, and fortunately though, Mickey was able to get back into the fight and pick up the kill onto Ian. And now it looks like they're looking for Baron, but this is something I don't want to see them do. Don't do it, Afreeca. Oh no.
Oh, okay, well, Snowflower aggroed it and took like half his health and damage. Now beyond, you're not baiting the bait you think you are. Ace and Hole will come out there. Oh my god! Okay, Snowflower. I get some levels up there, defense or something, because that is a lot. You actually almost died. Imagine a world in which that just actually kills him. Hilarious, unless you're an Afreeca fan. Turn this around and watch Mickey try for the comeback.
At the replay, and I mean, basically, Victor's Chaos Storm is actually still going off right here, but just look at the heal that comes out of Karma onto Beyond. And Linderong almost goes down. I don't even know what amount of hit points that was. And then Mickey able to get the catch onto Ian and just pick him up right there.
He's like walking back and forth trying to juke the empowered auto attack.
Yeah.
That's not how it works, man.
But the problem is this whole team fight is so on Victor. Like, if Victor goes down or anything happens where Ed's maybe able to knock him away, Afreeca, they don't have any other sort of dueling power anywhere.
Mickey is so fine, but while he might be blowing the mind while he's alive, as soon as he dies, it's like, well, where are you finding the damage from? You're going to have a, I guess that is a fairly damaging Trundle build, and you're starting to see it stack up that damage on Ed, but he's just so ahead at this point that, I mean, what are you really going to do to him?
Yep. And surprisingly enough, he's actually not going for a Guardian Angel, even though his team is so far ahead, and he has those constant shields coming out from Ian's Karma.
Now, I said that Ed was ahead, but I mean, you look at the CS count, and he's actually a little bit behind. What does it mean when you say, Poppy's ahead?
Well, when you say someone's ahead, mostly you have to factor in their base scaling, what the items mean for them, what are their ratios, how do they interact, etc. Any time that Poppy is even with you on items, you're behind.
Just that good.
For the most part. So, with that being said, I mean, she's going to approach Spirit Visage in just a short bit here, and that becomes pretty obnoxious to handle.
Facing hole on the Mickey. Okay, well, that time it didn't deal a lot of damage, but okay, just checking with the Cocoon, but that's not where they're at. Kicking beyond into the Baron Pit, comboed in with a beautiful Enchanted Crystal and Arrow. Beyond, Giant Purple Worm's not on your side. Neither is anyone else in the pit, as this time it's Afreeca starting Baron.
And I don't know if MVP is actually going to be able to stop this.
I mean, Ian's helping him at this point over the wall. There's going to be the Tempered Fate.
Oh, no.
Can Ian or Maha steal it? It's Songwon that secures it for the Freaks. Now, can they make it out of here alive, though? Chaos Storm coming down on Afreeca to usher them away. Look at Mickey. He's out of mana and can't continue the fight.
Yep. And that could have actually gotten a little bit scary because Mickey had no mana, and I'm not sure if MVP was being aware of that, but they might have, oddly enough, been able to actually turn because it would have almost actually just been a 4v4.
Well, let's watch this again and take a little bit of a slower view of what happens here.
Yeah, so Beyond was trying to actually come in to just get some vision coverage of the Baron Pit, and Snowflower and Sungwon were able to lock him up, and he tried to do some sort of a last stand where he might execute Snowflower, but that wasn't the case, and the rest of MVP could not get there in time.
Beyond actually checked the bush behind Red Buff to see if anybody was waiting there. He didn't expect Songwon to be prepared to make that sick play, kicking back over the wall into the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Afreeca teaming up on that poor helpless jungler to take him out and take that Baron buff. And now we get a chance to see what is the next step. 20 seconds until the next Dragon's up, so I didn't get a chance to check and see exactly which one that was. If it's another Inferno Drake, then MVP might be setting themselves to Mountain Drake, actually. So there we go. Still a very important dragon for really either team.
Yep, we actually have not seen a Cloud Dragon.
Freudian slip there.
Yeah.
Not this game, at least. Maybe future of the series, but big push in here. There's going to be the Tempered Fate in onto Songwon. Big ult there by Ed, actually knocking Mickey out of the fight, at least for now. Nothing coming of it other than that turret falling. The Freaks cracked their second turret of the game. Yeah,
and so this is actually one of the problems that we're starting to see with MVP's team composition, where they're heavily reliant on Poppy's ability to get inside of the opposing team, or for Beyond to find some sort of a cocoon to start the fight onto Afreeca.
Dragon being taken there. Kick on Beyond, kicks it back away. There's going to be a nice arrow, but it's canceled by that the travel time of the magical journey. Huge shields and heals onto Ed. How does that... Okay, well that works pretty well, I guess. By continuing, though, as the Freaks try to continue pushing in a big grasping roots. It's going to land onto most people. Beyond very low, but he's going to make it out. Songyun following up with more kills for the Freaks. Or at least the first one of that fight. It seemed like Ed just would never die, but he finally does go down.
Yeah. And, I mean, at this point, they're continuing their siege. They might be able to get this turret here, but I don't think much more beyond that. Maha finally stepping forward and putting an end to this siege. But, I mean, as the game continues to go on, it becomes increasingly more reliant on MVP having summoner spells because they can't find ways into Afreeca. Look at the amount of damage that's coming out from Mickey right here, and also just, it's so difficult for MVP to find a way to give Maha the angles in which he can actually get close enough to just constantly deal damage.
Stranglethorns as well, perfectly placed by Snowflower right at that choke point on the entire enemy team. Oh my goodness, the Freaks coming back and really showing this trademark always engage, go in aggression. That's looking pretty good. Reminds me of the good old Freaks of old, even though they did lose their starting top and jungle player.
Yep. And right now there will be a little bit of a downtime, as I'm very doubtful that Afreeca is going to actually continue on with their siege because Baron had just ended.
Okay, arrow hits. Mickey's still looking to go in there. Beyond's pretty tanky, man, but he's still taking about half of his damage. Chaos Storm following. Okay, that's actually going to push Beyond all the way back to base. I don't believe we just got trading, but was it worth it for the Freaks to commit that heavily to just chunk Beyond?
Well, yes it was to make him just recall because they were going to recall anyway. So if they can get any sort of like summoners out of people, or if they can make the fight persist and maybe get some sort of a pick, then maybe another opportunity presents itself where they can rotate and maybe look to capture an objective. So it's not the end of the world.
Ghost wasn't committed there by Mickey, but It's a pretty short cooldown as far as summoner spells go, so he'll have that back up eventually. And it's not like there are really any huge objectives up right now that teams need summoner spells for to push, unless Sang-Yoon wants to hit another one of his arrows, which have actually been pretty good so far. So looking forward to seeing what the next objective is. And for the Freaks, it looks like they are arrowing themselves down in the mid lane. They do find another big hit onto Ed, who will try to use his impossible poppy power to stay alive as long as he can. The laser comes through, but it's the volley from Sang-Yoon to take that Poppy down.
Yeah, and Poppy, turns out she is a little bit vulnerable without those giant Karma shields constantly going up on
heals.
And heals.
All the time.
Shields and heals.
Turret will go down. Freaks cracking now their 4th tie up the turret score after what looked like an MVP favored early game. Now it's the Freaks on top with that 2,500 gold Baron power play.
Yep, and I mean, again, this is a Karma mid team comp, and yes, it is a basically like protect the Caitlyn sort of a thing, but this is one of the issues that Karma compositions do run into, is that eventually they either run you over or you live long enough to run them over. And unfortunately for them also, the champion that had all the gold on Afreeca's team was Victor, who can certainly do just that. And so we see this arrow come in, hits Ed, Gravity Field comes down, and Mickey is just able to do so much damage, and Sang-Yoon ends up getting in range to finish that off.
Very well played there. A nice pick on a great champion to find that pick on. The more mortal you make Poppy, the less immortal she is. That's my expert analysis there. It's like the more you kill someone, the more they die. There you go.
Yeah.
That's my inspirational poster for the night.
There you go. And Baron and Elder Dragon coming up, by the way.
Oh boy. So Elder Dragon for MVP. Very hard to take down, but still very, very powerful if they are able to do it. But now, if you just look at the gold starting to shift in Afreeca's favor, they're the ones taking Barons. They're the ones winning team fights. And with Mickey as incredibly strong as he is, 4.5 completed items here at 40 minutes. And I mean, we do have the 4 items completed for Ian as well, but I mean, Karma's just not on that level.
Yeah, and I mean, Karma, she is only sort of on the level of her teammates, and Poppy is a nice champion, and she is really tanky, but Afreeca is pretty strong right now, and one of the champions that she can't really deal with is that Victor, unless her summoner spells are up, which generally they have not been when she's needed them most. So, not a very fun situation, and also her magic resistance is not that high, but it is Poppy, and she does get a lot of extra stats. It's like Maha just doesn't seem to be able to get or create his own opportunities for him to deal damage, and when he's relying on his teammates, it's just putting him in pretty terrible spots.
Trying to find catches, picks, anything to latch on for this Baron opportunity to work. Afreeca in the driver's seat, but not opposed to pulling this car over if they do have too many struggles to go in. There's the arrow. It does hit onto Max. The Victor damage is there. And Mickey. Okay, well, that's the way it works. That's Victor for you guys. Almost kills Ian too with the same Chaos Storm.
Well, turns out Victor is a good champion.
Super good champion, man. Ed once again going to get locked up. There's the Stranglethorns thrown down. Knockup's good. Here comes Victor with yet more damage left to do. Sang-Yoon there, the support AD carry to the big Victor burst. Will find his 3rd kill of the game.
And Sungkwan looking to take a little bit of poke. Probably should have let Linderong actually take that, but it's not going to matter too much anyway, as he's almost already back to full HP.
Yep, heal after off of that. Mickey just gets himself a free blue buff. Okay, there's a few HP off on that, but he will take that one down. And Sang-Yoon, he's just waiting. He's like, team, we gonna do this? Maybe they will, and it looks like they are going to start this one up. Linderang zoning off to the back. MVP coming up from around the red buff area, but more damage from Mickey. He just assassinates Maha! There's just nothing to do about that, and now Mickey looking for more. Beyond caught out, forced to flash over the wall. Does get a huge heal and shield, but Mickey's not done yet. Pops that Guardian Angel, and I mean, almost a foregone conclusion. Beyond, you can't deal with the Victor. Okay. All right, Ian. All right.
I think Ian heard you.
Yeah, that was the cast of curse right there.
That was.
That's that Soul Flare coming in. Mickey going down. I did not expect that burst, to be honest, and I guess neither did Mickey.
Yeah, and so he falls. It's not going to be the end of the world, though. They did manage to pick up the Baron. They got quite a few kills. And, yeah, you can just see what happened right there.
Okay.
So Nicky completely deleting someone, and he missed the laser on Ian. Had that connected, totally different story right now, as Beyond and Ian both would have actually went down, and it would have been little old Max left to try to defend the inhibitor turret.
Poor Max. There's Beyond's untimely demise. You can see at the live screen, we're actually setting up for what could be an Elder Drake. No, recalls now coming in for both teams, so not going to be heading that way quite yet. At the end of everything, it's a Baron for the Freaks, and that really is going to start to solidify this lead. They've been able to claw out for themselves off of such a strong MVP early game.
Yep. And so right now, they're probably going to make sure that they move over to Elder Dragon, although it looks like Mickey moving down to bottom lane. You see the ping going down onto the minion wave. They definitely want to tap that and shove it and start shoving it into the bottom tier 3 turret so that they can take the Elder Dragon and then maybe just go straight up to the inhibitor. Or, okay, I thought maybe they were going to try to go for some deep vision and elect to push first, but that is not going to be the case.
Yeah. They are. It is going to be the Freaks on the Elder Dragon, while Mickey is busy tapping that, pushing the wave in. Much like you are wont to do, it is Afreeca Freaks that will come up with not only the Baron, the Elder Dragon, a Mountain Drake, which will be empowered there by that. So, gotta say, starting to look a little scary. MVP started out strong, but what happened to set them so far behind?
Basically, it was that Baron play at the very start so long ago, where they tried to take Baron at a very peculiar timing, even though they had the Inferno Drakes and they were in the driver's seat. And honestly, a lot of the problem is it just doesn't seem like Maha is able to take his, basically take control of himself and put himself into positions where he can create his own opportunities. And so when that happens and his other teammates are going down or they don't have the summoner spells to set him up, it becomes problematic when you're the entire carry of the team.
Certainly is. That Protect the Caitlyn comp doesn't do very well when the Caitlyn gets one shot by the enemy Victor. Going in, this time it's Mickey that dies before this fight even starts. So now it's what you said, no damage for the most part for the Freaks, and they're going to have to head for the hills after a beautiful pick by MVP.
Yeah, and anytime Mickey goes down, that is it's run for the hills for Afreeca Freaks, because he is so much of their gold right now. And yes, Songyun does damage, but it's not nearly as much as Victor. We can just see this. So lots of poke came out onto Beyond, and then Ed found an opportunity with that flash. They were just able to delete Mickey from the fight, but fortunately, they were able to have this ultimate from Snowflower on that Zyra to get that disengage, because otherwise that could have gotten a lot uglier.
Yep, great pillar there from Linderang at the end as well. This helps Song Hwan stay alive and disengage successfully. Double Guardian Angels up for Afreeca Freaks. MVP have none, so that could be a big thing that turns around this fight with some extra lives there for the Freaks. Ed positioning forward, super tanky. There's the Ash Arrow, hits on the Max, forces the flash immediately, and now it's Linderang and Song Hwan up towards the front of the fight. Huge damage onto Linderang, and he will drop. Now, that Guardian Angel is coming back, but can he survive, stay alive? There's the Caitlyn trap, forcing the flash. Linderang and Song Hwan poke back to the back, but both very weak. The turnaround there, Bard ult misses, and so will the arrow. No, the arrow onto Mickey again! They find the snipe! It's a criminal assassination, and now it's Song Hwan dead as well. Beyond there to find it, huge damage on the Snowflower, and MVP keep, I don't know, it's like when you're a guitar.
I feel like they should not let up here. They need to come back, teleport to a minion. No!
Okay, well
it's not going to matter so much, but they still have to teleport on Ed, and they need that to penetrate the Nexus. This is heartbreaking for Afreeca.
They just lose Mickey twice in a row.
They might lose the game.
And that's exactly possible
Ed,
here.
recall. Ed, all you need to do is recall and teleport onto the minion.
He's actually not going to recall, he's just going to get the teleport. Those turrets do very, very little. Linderang there gets pinned into the wall, still staying very far alive there. Ed actually getting all of his defenses stolen there. Linderang subjugates him away, but so much damage here on this Nexus turret. The Nexus turret's going to go down. Can MVP finish this game? They're going to find some kills. Ed magically stays alive there, but it's going to be the Freaks falling one by one. MVP, after being behind for the last 20 minutes, will close out game number 1 behind in kills, behind in gold, but ahead 1-0 over the Freaks.
Oh my god. I feel so bad right now for Mickey. And he was the one that got them there, and then he's the one that got caught out twice in a row, back to back. He literally respawned from Nexus, ran up mid lane just to die.
Well, when you're named Mickey God giveth, and Mickey God taketh away. And that's exactly what he did there, getting caught out twice in a row. That's all it takes.
That is all it takes. And you know, there's a term in Korean, like a hanbang, one shot, one opportunity, and MVP just took it, and they drove it straight up mid lane. I was a little worried that Ed, as you saw at the end right there, he chose to teleport inside of the base and then almost backfired, because he could have had more items. He could have had an elixir even, and every little step counts when you're going for a blitz on the Nexus right there. And fortunately for them, they were able to attack the Nexus and secure the win.
And they were, even guys like Ed doing exactly, well, almost exactly what you said, teleporting the minion, keeping it alive, allowing that, keeping that backdoor protection off of the turrets. Turrets fell, and the rush up mid for the Nexus worked. And I just gotta say, an incredible example of if you are the carry, be careful. And a lot of people think that the carry is, the guy that does damage, but you gotta put the care in the word. Keep yourself alive. Well, either way, that's a Game 1 win for MVP. We're gonna take a quick break. Stay tuned. Game 2 coming up.
Next.